Now, if there's one company I can trust if there's one distribution company I can trust to do releases of movies that are very, very good releases, they have a lot of features, and they have a lot of new cool shit going on, as well as their transfers to Blu-ray are fantastic, it's Scream Factory. Scream Factory, I mean, I don't own a ton of their stuff. I also have, wait a minute. I mean, I don't have a ton of their stuff. I mean, I have the Slumber Party Massacre movies. I have, like, Psycho 2, and that, and From Beyond, and the double feature of The Video Dead and TerrorVision. But I know that Scream Factory can do some awesome, awesome releases. Knowing that, I thought I'd do a top 5 video that I don't think I've seen anybody do. So, without further ado, let's do the top 5 movies that Scream Factory should release. At number 5 on our list, we have the one and only Violent Shit. Now, I will say this may be a bit too extreme for someone like Scream Factory. I honestly think someone like maybe Synapse Films or someone like Synapse or Unearthed Films, I honestly think they would handle this a lot better, and they'd probably prefer to handle this one. But nonetheless, Violent Shit is an absolutely just terrible, nasty, badly made, cheesy, ultra-violent splatter film from the late 80s, shot on video on a budget of $2,000 on a rented video camera, and today it has grown quite a large cult following, and it's now considered one of the goriest movies ever made. The sad thing is it doesn't have a DVD release in America. I'd like to change that. I would like to see what Scream Factory could do with Violent Shit. I want to see Violent Shit on Blu-ray. Like, how good of quality would that be? And the commentary from Andreas Schnasch, the director and creator of Violent Shit, the director of the entire series of movies. Hell, I'd like to see an entire box set release from them, similar to the Scream Factory release of the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy. You know, I'd be completely okay with seeing this. With seeing just, you know, a release like this. Like, not too great, but it's still a really awesome release. I'd be cool with seeing a release like that of the Violent Shit movies. I mean, maybe even a double feature Blu-ray of the first two. It would be a really cool release, and I'd like to see what the artist they picked to do the new cover art could do for the cover art, because I feel like the cover art would be the coolest thing about the release. Alright, and next we have Spookies, this rather infamous little movie I reviewed back in November, and I absolutely loved it because it's just so weird, and it has like everything from zombies to werewolves to even like mutant spider people and poop zombies and just all kinds of weird, crazy stuff, and a lot of really cool like practical monster effects and stuff like that. And recently it's started to become a bit more popular and notable, and it's grown quite a decent sized cult following over the years. Sadly, again, no American release, and this is another case where I'd like to see Scream Factory take this one on, because I feel like they could do this film justice and make it just amazing and make it into the cult film it deserves to be. You know, get it the fan base that it deserves, like they did when they released Phantom of the Paradise, which I need to pick up. I mean, the releases are fantastic. I mean, I keep saying this, but they really, really are awesome. And I'd really like to see, you know, the new cover art for this, whether they could do commentary, I think the director might be still alive, you know, do commentary, all these special features and stuff. I'd really like to see what they could do with it, honestly. Alright, next we have a little cult film from the 90s. At number 3, we have Brain Scan, starring Edward Furlong. Now, if you haven't seen Brain Scan, I mean, I'm not going to be upset or anything. Not a lot of people have seen it. It's a cult film. I mean, it has a pretty small cult following. But I honestly think it's a really underrated, overlooked piece of 90s horror. The film itself is basically just about this kid who loves horror movies, and he orders this game through an ad in Fangoria magazine. He gets the game, and the game simulates a murder, and it turns out that the murder he actually committed, he wasn't playing a game. He was actually mind controlled into breaking into this guy's house and murdering him. And that's what this movie's kind of about. It's about him playing these different discs and having to kill different people, having to cover up evidence, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and there's even a very cool, underrated little, villain, villain anti-hero, I guess, called the Trickster, who I think is really awesome. And Primus is on the soundtrack. Primus sucks, and everybody knows that Primus sucks. And I would love to see a new release of this movie, because the DVD release they did, I mean, I'm pretty sure they did a new one a little bit recently, but they have yet to do a Blu-ray release, and I'd really like to see that. As well as, again, with the cover art. The cover art could be amazing for this one, and I'd really like to see what they could do with it. Okay, next is a movie, at number 2, we have a movie from the director of Pieces. This is his underrated, masterpiece, and definitely my, second favorite movie from him behind Pieces. It is Slugs. Slugs often gets a bad rap. I mean, on IMDb it has a pretty low rating. It's overall considered to be a pretty bad movie, but in all honesty, I think it's a really awesome movie. The effects are really good. And it's a movie about killer slugs, sure. And that's really stupid and cheesy, sure. But it's still really fun to watch, and there is a DVD release of this movie out, but there is no Blu-ray, special edition release or anything like that. It's just a cheap, bare bones release. And I would really like to see a new release of this movie on Blu-ray with not director commentary, because sadly the director, I think his name is Simone, probably. He's dead, but I would still like to see this with commentary, maybe from some of the actors, interviews with people, different stuff like that. I'd really like to see what Scream Factory could do with this one. And I honestly don't think they would have to change the cover art for this one, just because the cover art and the poster art for this movie is just too perfect to change, honestly. Okay, and at number 1, we have a slasher film from 1991 that I covered about a year ago on my channel. And this movie's Popcorn. Popcorn is, wow. It's a movie. It has to do with a face-wearing serial killer who, is also a filmmaker, and he, made this movie where he killed a bunch of people, and then he burned the theater down that he filmed it in, and stuff like that. And it's then this chick finds the movie and watches it, and there's all this weird stuff that goes on, and they decide to have this 24-hour long horror movie marathon with all these cool props and stuff involved with the screenings. And the deaths in the film involve these props and stuff, and it's just a really cool, really original and pretty funny at times slasher film. And this is one of those movies that they keep saying, oh, this is going to get a release soon, this is going to get a release soon, guys, chill out. And then the release is always canceled. As of now, there's only been one release in America, and that is, well, 2 if you count the VHS release. And the most recent one was a DVD release, and it's out of print, and it's $60. And sadly, I absolutely love this movie, and I would love to, own it, but it's not available in America, sadly. I'd like to see what they could do, and honestly, this is another one along with Slugs, where I don't think they'd have to change the cover art for this movie, because the poster art for Popcorn is just too amazing for words.